You may now begin your presentation.
A failure.
A mistake.
Missing the mark.
Going off track.
A disappointment.
A letdown.
A blunder.
A gaffe.
An embarrassment.
We all have them. Moments when we thought we were on the path to success.
Only to end up lost in a sea of problems and barriers. A place where the success that once seemed so attainable seems no longer possible.
Elizabeth Gilbert, best-selling author of Eat, Pray, Love, discussed in a TED Talk last year the process of publishing her memoir. Despite its rave success, she tried to get it published and was turned down not once, not twice, but was repeatedly rejected by publishers for almost 6 years.
When things go wrong in our lives, there are so many possible responses.
We quit.
We wallow in doubt.
Eat a carton of ice cream.
And we go home.
But that's exactly what Gilbert recommends that we do. To go home.
Not to a house or to a dorm room, but we go home.
We return to what brought us to the mistake in the first place. The fuel that drives us, our passion. The work we do regardless of its outcome. That's our core.
Our center.
Our home.
This year, our team has encountered slammed doors.
Frustrations.
Mistakes.
But we learned from them. We kept working. We went home.
This is what we're going to share with you today. Not only will we tell you about our projects fueled by this passion, but we'll also discuss a barrier that nearly shut down each project. Then we'll tell you how we overcame the steps to get that project where it is today.
We think not only will these barriers help you to understand the complexity behind all of our projects, but we also hope that we can keep some of you from making the same mistakes we made this year.
So welcome, y'all. This is our home.
Last year, 2 of our Enactus members wanted to truly give back their last summer before graduating. So they reached out to our long-term community partners, 147 million orphans. 147 informed them of the needs of Mount Olivos, Honduras, a city where 27 families were forced by the government to leave their homes in the city and to move to a remote area with no running water and no school for their children.
Feeling blessed by their education and wanting to be able to provide an education for the children of Mount Olivos, created the background for our first project, 147 Riding with a Reason.
After seeing the needs of the community, Belmont Enactus members were moved to act. More specifically, moved from Portland, Oregon to Washington, D.C. That's 3,400 miles in a bicycle trip across the nation to raise awareness and funds for the school.
This project took months of planning to locate places to stay, to promote the ride, to raise awareness and funds, and to secure corporate sponsors.
The group created a website and developed an online presence on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Flickr, as well as included live streaming video during the trip, while blogging along the way that was followed by 1,200 unique viewers.
After months of preparation, not to mention the physical training, our Enactus members and a few friends set off on their 2-month voyage, traveling an average of 75 miles per day in good weather and bad. Everything seemed to be going great, until the unthinkable happened. After some back pain, one of the cyclists started to experience severe health issues. After a trip to the doctor, he learned that he had developed a serious injury and he could not continue cycling.
But just as Gilbert would say, when you face problems, you go back to your purpose, your home. The guys weren't on the trip just for fun. Each mile, each injury was to help the people in Mount Olivos. So with heavy hearts, as James returned home to heal in Nashville, the guys kept the journey moving. Thankfully, James was able to rejoin the group 2 weeks later.
So what impact did this journey have? The project was seen on television programs in Sioux City, Iowa, Peoria, Illinois, numerous media outlets in Nashville, and even the United States Congress.
Financially, the project raised over $60,000. The school is already built, is fully furnished, and is educating the children in the community. Earning $10,000 over their goal, the project also was able to build a playground, fund teacher salaries for the next 3 years, and purchase uniforms for students at the school.
to go out and to make a difference.
Knowing that every dollar that we raise can go directly to help meeting the needs of orphans is something that we found true value in.
For the children of Mount Olivas, their lives were unsure, with no future in sight. But with an idea, months of planning, marketing, and 3,400 miles of perseverance, we've empowered the youth of Mount Olivas to have a better future.
In large cities throughout Ethiopia, many women have little opportunity to provide for their families and turn to lives of prostitution. In the capital city alone, there are nearly 150,000 women working on the streets.
After searching for a job for over a year after her college graduation, Cherry Friedmeier understood the struggles that these women face. 20 years ago, she began Alilta Women at Risk in an effort to provide a better future for those who wanted a different life. So far, over 360 women have gone through the 12-month rehabilitation program with a 90% success rate through the use of deep counseling, mentoring, and career development.
Currently, the organization melds job training with a social enterprise where the women sell scarves, handmade greeting cards, and body care products. Our Enactus program has been helping this enterprise for years alongside some U.S. community partners. At the beginning of the year, we thought this was a mutually beneficial program until we traveled to Addis Ababa to conduct a site visit.
After meeting directly with the Lilta coordinators, we found some disturbing information. While the recovery and training of the Ethiopian women was going well, the group was having problems managing its two separate entities.
If TVCSI had a forensic accounting division, we could have been the agents. We went through the numbers, spoke with community partners, and kept digging until we had all of the information. We were shocked by some of the things that we found. The small issues were unfortunate, but understandable, such as poor inventory management procedures and inadequate market research.
More eye-opening is that some partners were using the very personal stories of the women in recovery to sell products and raise funds. To us in the US, this seemed like a perfectly understandable marketing tactic. But once we arrived in Ethiopia, we quickly realized the harmful personal impact of using these women's stories. Leaving lives of prostitution became impossible when their stories were easily found online and just one click away.
We want to stop and take a moment to talk specifically to those other Enactus members watching our presentation today. We love international projects. Every time we visit Ethiopia, Honduras, Guatemala, among other nations, we're revitalized and energized to help the people there. Our community partners are good people, people we grow close to, and with whom we build friendships. So we never dreamed our helping would be so hurtful. Our big lesson is that nothing takes the place of fully getting to know your partners, even when they're an ocean away.
This is why this project is in our presentation today. While I know it is helpful competitively to hear financial numbers, changed lives, and personal stories, this project became all about protection, guarding those who wanted to leave a life of being used and vulnerable. If we truly wanted to teach these women that they are valuable and important, we had to make sure that they are being treated that way. The last thing we wanted was to make them feel as if they're being exploited again during their rehabilitation.
Our first goal was to enact measures to protect the women and the Alilta program. We crafted cease and desist notifications, making sure that the actions of partner organizations ended immediately. We created non-disclosure agreements for future partnerships at Alilta, where the stories of the women could only be used with direct permission by the organization.
We also created a licensing agreement for those wanting to sell the Alilta products, but one that added more structure, pricing, and management of the goods. Thus, we shifted the power back to Alilta, empowering them to take control of their business.
After implementing these strategies to better protect the organization and livelihoods of these women, we moved forward with the Alilta enterprise. We helped refine inventory and tracking systems to better manage costs and sales. Also, we recommended restructuring the training program to better prepare women for opportunities in their communities. We're also proud to send one of our Enactus members to work directly with the organization for a 3-month period this summer.
It could have been easy for our team to see the problem and absolve ourselves from the issue. After all, the purpose of our visit was to just say hello, serve the women, and potentially offer some advice along the way. But we found that our passion, our home, was in helping protect the Ethiopian women.
For women previously living lives of prostitution, they used to live their lives giving their power over to others. In our Lotto program this year, we made sure that these women got their power back by ending harmful marketing practices, strengthening their management skills, and by reforming the way they license their story to outside vendors. We put the focus back where it needs to be, helping rehabilitate those trying to change their lives for the better.
And now our final project, Strings for Hope.
In January of this year, the New York Times wrote about the nation's food crisis. Unfortunately, they revealed that the problem isn't going away. Instead, the problem is only growing. Laura Wilson experienced this firsthand when her daughter brought a friend over after school. She was shocked to find that her daughter's friend frequently would go without meals, truly bringing the problem to her front door. This ignited her passion when she created Strings for Hope, a nonprofit taking guitar strings headed for the trash and turning them into wearable treasure.
Last year, we took the project and dreamed big. Instead of only taking guitar strings from a local store with low resale value, we decided to use our Nashville connections and find guitar strings played by well-known musicians, repurposing these items to meet the needs of our Nashville community. We met with many musicians and became excited when several of them agreed to start giving us the strings from their concerts in order to help charities in our area.
The biggest hurdle for this project came early for us when we learned a tough lesson about working with the music industry. Even though artists wanted to join the cause, the management had complete control of the name and brand of the artists they serve. In other words, even though we had guitar strings given to us directly from Florida Georgia Line, we weren't able to sell these bracelets using their name without permission from artist management.
This roadblock truly could have wrecked the project, but we felt strongly about the purpose and the direction in which we were headed. After countless meetings, we finally began talks with Jeremy Hawley, a senior vice president at Warner Music Nashville. Through our hard work, including getting guidance from a prominent Nashville entertainment lawyer, you now can not only purchase jewelry of the guitar strings taken from artists Florida Georgia Line and Stephen Curtis Chapman, but we can finally offer you letters of authenticity stating the concert the strings were played at, the city, and even the date. The ability to market the jewelry with this label created a significant change in the product value, and we're currently working to add even more artists to our brand.
After solidifying our product, we worked to increase marketing and visibility. Before, the bracelets were sold at art and music shows in the Nashville area. To add a more permanent placement, we added 2 vendors to sell the bracelets, especially to visitors in the Nashville area. These 2 locations include the storefront of the Nashville Convention and Visitors Corporation, as well as the Hudson News location in the Nashville airport.
To increase marketing, we relaunched the Strings for Hope website, including e-commerce capabilities for online purchases. We developed a presence on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest, and coached the coordinators on what and when to post each. We also created an email list and blog posts to drive additional traffic to the website and social media.
The increase in sales also increased a need for production. So we partnered with the women from a local organization, The Next Door, who provide jobs and education for those trying to leave lives of prostitution and drug addiction, paying the women $6 per bracelet. To make sure that the process was safe, we brought in an occupational therapist to review the process and to make recommendations, to make sure that the process wouldn't strain the women's hands.
With our efforts this year, we've seen an increase in sales and media traffic. So far, the new vendors have added $6,000 in revenue, and our online component has generated $2,000 in sales. We also earned $11,500 in grant money to find ways to increase the brand even further. This year alone, Strings for Hope was able to provide $12,000 in food, medical, and educational relief across the Nashville area, with over $2,600 paid in wages to women of the Next Door.
Well, Strings of Hope have given our women an opportunity to believe again in themselves, so they can be useful, they can have skills and contribute, and also get paid for it. The Enactus students prepared our women for employment. They've just been great encouragers, and they've been there, they've marketed. That Enactus group, they're awesome. They really have built bridges with our clients to help them understand that they can contribute to the great work that's happening with Strings for Hope.
For Belmont Enactus, Nashville's not only where we live, but serving those in need in our area is our passion, our home. Through the Strings for Hope project, we've taken the strings that we discard in Music City and turned them into sustainable relief, training, and careers, a truly noteworthy cause.
This year, our team brought it home, focusing on what really matters, serving and empowering those in our communities.
Our team conducted 12 projects, serving others in North and South America and Africa.
We've had a direct impact of nearly $100,000 that went to our partners, bringing hope and stability through the power of entrepreneurship and free enterprise.
Through our 147 Million Orphans Riding with the Reason campaign, we brought awareness to the international orphan crisis, raised $60,000, and not only built a school, but strengthened the community of Mount Olivos, Honduras, all through the power of riding a bike and lots of entrepreneurial action.
In our Alilto Women at Risk program, we found a problem amongst one of our legacy projects and refocused on the organization to bring the power back to those who felt powerless. We helped to restructure the organization and refocus marketing efforts to make sure that the women's recovery was the forefront of the project.
And in our Strings for Hope project, we solidified our direction through gaining written agreements with top artist management groups. Use this to update packaging and marketing, as well as completely overhaul their online and social media presence. All this while hiring at-risk women to create the bracelets to assist in their recovery.
Through entrepreneurial action, we're empowering our community while keeping our focus on our passion for serving people.
Belmont Enactus, we're not letting problems sway us. We're going back to what drives us. We're going home.
Thank you, Belmont University. Judges, you may now begin the question and answer period.
Thank you. It's a unique and refreshing approach to talk about mistakes and blunders and roadblocks. So I'm curious how that came up as a team discussion, what the discussion was like, and how you arrived at the decision to include it in your presentation.
I'll take that one. We had a lot of discussion about it with our team as to what our topic would be this year, and it's actually our 10-year anniversary of coming to the Enactus National Competition, and so we decided to reflect on what we've done these past 10 years, and we realized we had a lot of successes and also a lot of failures. We discussed a lot. There were a lot of people on both sides of the debate, but eventually this won out, and I'm personally very happy with it.
I just want to understand the management of the Strings for Hope. Is it correct that you're overseeing the overall management? And if so, do you have plans in place to have some of the participants take some of that responsibility in the future?
I'll take that one too. Right now, Strings for Hope is a nonprofit founded by a woman who works a full-time job, and they have one full-time employee. So we're really her support staff. We do a lot of business etiquette for her, a lot of the business processes for the nonprofit. As the nonprofit continues to grow, we look forward to handing off more and more pieces as they become available to take that on themselves.
We're actually kind of looking into right now, kind of doing an assessment to see if she can afford to hire another employee to help her out. But right now, like you said, we're the support staff.
Riding for a Reason was highly successful from a fundraising and then the physical assets you installed. Can you talk more about the sustainability of the community and how that gets carried on?
Sure. So Riding with the Reason had an immediate need in the moment. So they had families displaced. So they had families displaced from their homes, and so they came to us with this need, and we decided to fulfill it because we've had a relationship with them since 2009. So we trust them. We trust Gwen and Suzanne, who are the founders. They actually have 14 orphans themselves, and they have pledged to fund teachers' salaries for 3 years after our $60 donation or our $60 funding runs out. So they have pledged that, and based on the great relationship we've conducted site visits. We trust that this will be a sustainable project for the community.
In jumping ahead to your developing projects, pretty exciting stuff. Can you take us through the strategy that you use to rotate through your existing versus your future projects?
Sure. I'm actually kind of working on one of the developing projects, so I can speak to that. Our developing projects are just kind of the up-and-coming ones. They really don't have any impacts right now. Well, we're working on them, so we decided to present on the projects that were our main focus this year, but we really look forward to presenting, hopefully, on the developing projects next year.
And which criteria would you use to decide which of those projects to fold into the repertoire?
Oh, the developing projects? Oh, well, those are our three main developing projects right now. So we have students on those current projects that kind of are in the back right now. We don't have any students on them, so we don't have impacts on them. We qualify our community partners before we put students on those, so those do not have impacts right now. So we look forward to presenting on those in the future.
To just go a little bit further on that, we do have students working on all of those projects really diligently. A lot of them are in the beginning stages of what's to come. Like if I Had a Hammer is working on a lot of foundation stuff before there are big results that we hope to present on.
If Writing for a Reason was a one-time event to help 147 million orphans, were the 11 corporate sponsors you secured willing to support that as an annual event? Have you considered that as an annual event? Back to the sustainability question.
I can take that question. The 11 corporate sponsors were strictly for the gear of the trip. So they weren't part of the funding for the project. So we didn't really look into extending it to another year. It was for the gear on the trip and for gas money along the way as well.
If we use your graph in your annual report as a example, 5 years from now, which one of the three projects do you think will still be sustainable?
I'm sorry, the question and answer time has expired. Judges, please join me in thanking the Belmont University Enactus team.